Now, to your point, that might have backfired in ways, but what I am trying to get at, my question for you is, you're excited by Mamdani, but do you think a guy like Mamdani could actually win, let's say, the presidential election, where you need to win over a lot of big swaths of America? You need to flip red
Yeah.
states that used to be blue. You want to bring them back blue.
Yeah.
And this kind of stuff just freaks a lot of people out.
Sure. Sure. Because the messaging has been so hammered into them from the Conservative Party. The Overton window, okay, which has been dragged so far right that, like, what we consider to be so left and so socialist is actually like Nixon wanted universal health care. He had a lot, he founded the EPA. Like, we think of him as this, like, oh, he was this Republican and he was so corrupt and all this stuff. But he, under his terms, like, that was the norm. And then you have somebody, and then we had Jimmy Carter, who was actually, by all accounts, a really great president. And he had to give up his peanut farm. What about Trump and how he's profiting off the, anyway, don't get me started on that. But and then after that we had Reagan. And Reagan is the beginning. You can track everything back to Reagan. Reagan was the beginning of the end for the way that our country was. And he, as a governor, did away with free in-state tuition for the U.S., like all of your public universities. University of Southern California, University USC Davis, like all of those used to be free. And there was a very, like, it was a memo that came out where they didn't like that people of color were getting a free education. So that changed. And that just snowballed into everything. He did away with the fair and balanced news reporting, which is why you get the lies that you get on TV. News was so different. So the messaging, we're coming up against that messaging. And it's very, I don't know how we're going to fix that. We need to bring back the that fair and balanced news reporting to get the truth on the airwaves. But I don't know.
I don't know how you're going to regulate speech.
No, I know. But we did have that at one time, and that was done away with driven hard by Rupert Murdoch. Surprise, surprise. And he got, Reagan to do that, whatever. So one of the other big failings is young males in this country. I just read a report or an article about how they're, being left behind. They, in higher numbers, are still living at home over women. They are outnumbered in universities. I think 3 to 1, 3 to 2 by women in universities. They have a higher rate of suicide. They're struggling, and we are not reaching them. And people like Charlie Kirk and that disgusting Fuentes person, and all these other right-wing people like Joe Rogan, who, they're speaking their language. Those people are speaking the language that is
I
touching
wouldn't
them.
call Joe Rogan right wing, but Fuentes is definitely a self-proclaimed neo-Nazi, so he's not that wholesome. And Charlie Kirk at least like to debate people in the open. So there's enviable qualities in somebody who is willing to bring it on in an open forum and have conversations. I obviously didn't agree with a lot of his position, but
he was. Yeah, sorry. Go on.
But these, to your point though, the Zoomer male is a mess.
Yeah.
And Scott Galloway now has made a third or fourth career out of messaging this to the world using statistics and his own bombast to reinforce and remind us that the Zoomer male is an incel living with his mom in the basement, which sadly is often true. So this is correct.
Yeah.
And these
Yeah.
folks are gravitating toward the right and the radical right
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they are angry and they feel disenfranchised.
Yep. Yeah.
So then what can the Democrats do to bring them back? Why is Nick Fuentes more popular than Gavin Newsom for this crowd?
I know. I don't know.